Hi everybody, Patty Ann here. Hang on. Today I'm going to be demonstrating how to do the paper-pieced little bird that we're doing for Elaine's attic in Landrum, South Carolina. So this is the pattern for the little bird, and as I said, it's paper piecing. The first thing that I would do, because it gets rather confusing, is I look at the diagram in the book, and I don't have the book right here, to see what parts are what parts. And then I go on my paper pattern here and just kind of write out what colors I'm going to be using. So for example, I know this is going to be white right here, so I'll put a W for white. Any of these that I know are white, I'm going to put a W, because that's one less bit of thinking that I will have to do when I start. So I put the W's for all the whites. The next thing I'm going to do is I know I'm going to make, these are his legs, and I know I'm going to make them this kind of, this tiny print. So I guess I'll just call it blue flower print. So blue BFP, blue flower print, BFP. So let's see, this is going to be his beak, this pretty pink. So this is the beak part, and I know that from looking in the pink polka dot one. And let's see, this is going to be his main body, this green, okay, the green part. So I know that his main body parts are this one, these kind of grayish looking ones. So I'm going to call that the green, and the green. There are 4 of them. Okay. And the last one is this, I just called this red flower. And red flower is like his wings. So I'm going to just do red flower. So that's a little bit less that I have to worry about when I get started. So and I have all my things cut, but you don't need to do that in advance. I just did it for the video. The next thing that I'll do is I'll cut these apart carefully. Now I don't know if you can see, but there are dotted lines. Can you see the dotted lines? Yeah. So that you need those dotted lines. So you need to cut between them. And you can use your ruler if you want to, or you can just eyeball it. So I'm going to cut, whoopsie, there's one part. I don't need that. So there's one part done, ready to go. Okay, then I'm going to cut between these. Remembering to stay between the dotted lines. I don't want to cut the dotted lines off. That'll be my final seam allowances that I need. So there's some more pieces that are ready. And this last one's a weird one. It's really not even necessary, but I'll show you later. So we're going to get started. We're going to begin with the A block. And you'll notice the A block has all the letter A's on it. And you're going to start with A1. So I look for A1 on here, and I see it's got a G. So that means I'm going to use my green fabric for it. And it's a little teeny tiny one. So I'm just going to have it be this piece here. Now the very first piece is just the most confusing one. You're going to put it behind the paper, just like this, so that it covers all of that space. And that's all you have to do. Now, if this is hard for you, what you can do is you can put a little piece of, or a little bit of glue stick back there to hold it in place. But I don't find that really necessary. The next thing that you'll do is you'll look for A2. And that says it's the red flowers. So this is my red flowers. So these are the weirdest ones that there are. I have this one lined up behind, you see, with the right side up. And now I'm going to put this next one behind that with the right sides together. Okay. So what I want to have this do is to make a 1/4 inch seam right here. And so like if I were to sew this, can you see? Maybe you can see this. Here is the A2 part that I'm trying to cover. So I want to find out if I make a stitch line here and I fold this, is it going to cover all of that square? And indeed it is. So when you're beginning paper piecing, don't be chintzy with cutting your squares. Do cut them a lot larger than what you think. You'll be glad you did. So anyway, I turn this back over, and now I know I'm going to sew on the line between A1 and A2. And I've reduced the length of my stitches a little bit. And I'm just going to sew, and you start before, and I'll show you that in a sec. So what I've done here was I started before this A1 line. I started right here, and I went after it. Okay, this is the part I really like about paper piecing that makes it so easy for me. I have an issue being accurate sometimes with stuff, but this I can do. So what you're going to do is turn it over, and then you're going to finger press this. I just use my fingernail to press it. Okay, and then I turn it back over like this. And the next one, since I've already done A1 and this is A2, the next one I'm going to do is A3. So I find the line for A3, and it's right here. Then I take a card of any sort, and I line that card right up with that line where it says A3. Okay, maybe you can see it. Okay, right here it says A3, and I'm lining the card up, and then I'm going to fold this paper back over top of my card and bend it. Just fold it just like that, and don't worry about this, just have it out. That's when I bring my add a quarter ruler over, and I butt it right up against that card. That's what's so nice about this ruler. It has this lip here, so that when you butt it up there, it just stays put. Then all you do is you take your rotary cutter and cut. So what you've done here now is this is the line that you'll use to place your next piece. So this was A1 and A2, and we just cut right here on that paper for A3. And it says that A3 is a G, or a green. So I'm going to get another green one out, and I know that's way big enough, right? Turn this over, okay, and that line that I just cut with the add a quarter ruler, I'm going to line this piece up with that, right sides together. And again, I'm going to look. If this is my A3 piece right there, I'm going to look when I fold that, is it going to cover all of that? And of course it is, it's so large. So I just have these two butted up together, hold them together, flip it over, and then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to sew on this A3 line. Okay? So again, I'm going to start before the A3 line and begin stitching, and stitch a bit past it. Okay, and if I had scissors here, I could cut off all these strings. Again, put it down like this, finger press it over, okay, and turn it back over like this. Now, we just did which one? A3. So the next one we're going to do is A4. So I'm going to put my card on that line between A3 and A4. Oh, the line between A3 and A4. I'm going to fold it over. And if some of this stuff comes with it, see how that's doing? That's because I sewed further than I needed to. You just push it down and it comes loose. Making sure that you have this lined up on the A4. And then you take your little add a quarter ruler, butt it up against your card, and slice. Okay, so that's what we have so far. And now we are on piece A4. And it says that A4 is green. So I've got to get another green piece. And I'm going to look and see, when I line that green piece up along this edge that I just cut, right sides together, when I flip it, Will it cover all the A4? Yes, it certainly will. So I keep those right sides together, flip it over, go to my sewing machine, and sew on this line where it says A4. Again, starting before the line, sewing on the line, and going past where it ends, bringing it out, okay, flipping it over, finger pressing, and then flipping it over again. Now, since I just did A4, I'm going to do A5, which it's not right there. I've got to look for it. There it is. It's over here. So I'm going to flip this around like this, and I'm going to get my card and fold on that A5 line, fold it over like this, push this down, okay, and then take my add a quarter ruler and butt it right up against that card and slice. Okay, so that's that. So now I'm going to do A5, and remember now, since we marked it, we don't have to do all that thinking like, well, what color do I use now? I know, I use white because there's a W there. So I'm going to take this white one, come over here, and line it up with that line, with that edge that I just trimmed. Look at this. See if I fold it like such. Is it going to cover everything? Yes, it will. So then, I'm going to take it, and again, I'm going to take it to my machine, and this time I'm sewing the A5 line. And again, I'll start before, and I'll go after the end a little bit beyond. That just ensures that you've got a good seam there, and it's not going to come undone when you're working. So, stitching right on the line. I could show you that part if you'd like. Maybe. Stitching right on that line and going to the end and a little beyond. And then bring you back down. And here we go. So again, I'm going to turn this over, and I'm going to finger press, turn it over again. Now let's see, that's A5. The last one we have to do is A6. So A6 is over here, and it also is white. So I get my card, place it here, fold this back, use the add a quarter ruler because this adds the 1/4 inch for my seam. Okay. And then I'm going to sew on A6, which is a white one. So I think I have a little tiny white one. Not really. Okay, this is what I told you not to do, is don't be skimpy and try to scrimp. So I'm going to take this, put the A6 on here, on there. Make sure that when I fold it over, is it going to cover all that? And it sure is. So I'm going to sew beginning before A6 and ending after I pass it. So again, one more time, last time for this one, I'm going to finger press, turn it over, and now I can do one more piece of trimming. Remember the dotted lines I told you? Those are very, very important seam allowances. So what you can do is you can cut on the dotted lines, or you can use your add a quarter ruler. Line the lip part up with the solid line, which gives you the 1/4 inch at the edge. And then I can trim it like this. You got to keep that seam allowance on there. If you don't, you'll have to redo this little block, because there'll be no way that you can sew the next part to it. Okay, so since I trimmed all around these edges, you can see that that's the beginning of my little bird. Here's the one that I finished, and this is the one that I just did now. It's his body. And so then I would go on to parts, let's see, C and D, and B must be over here somewhere also. There it is, B. So again, I have these marked out with the colors that I need. Makes it very easy. The first thing I do is I find B1 and I put it behind here. And then I find B2, which is the blue flower print, and I put it right sides together with this one. And if okay, like that. And then again, I will just simply come over here and sew right here along the line between B1 and B2. And I'm not going to do this whole bird because I think you'd be bored stiff. But between B1 and B2, and as you can see, I stitched a little beyond down here and a little above here. Then I turn it over again and I finger press it, come over here. The next one that I'm going to do, since I did B1 and B2, I'm going to do B3. So I'll get my card, put this on that line, fold this over, get my add a quarter ruler, and the large one works too. I just have 2 of them, and since this is a small project, I'm using the small one. And there's that. And then I would come over, and I actually have a little more than I need under here. Trim that off because I didn't line that up well. Okay, so now I'm going to do B3, which is white. So I'll take another white one. Will that work? Yes. Okay, take this white, line it right up on that edge that I cut. Bring it to my machine and sew on this line between B2 and B3. And so it's always come over, finger press, flip it, put your card in, and I'm going to B4 now. So I will trim, fold the card, fold it back over the card, use my add a quarter ruler, trim. Okay. So the next one will be B4, which is the blue flower print. I'm going to take it, match it right up here. Make sure it's going to be big enough, and I know that it is. Okay. Take it over to my machine. Sew. Okay. And then finger press. And then fold and trim. So it's sew, finger press, fold, and trim. So now the last one that we have to do for his legs is B5, which is white. So line this up on the edge that I just trimmed. Turn it over. So now it's sew, and then finger press, and then turn it over, and I would trim it. But this is all done, so now I can totally trim this one, remembering of course that I cannot trim off the dotted line. So I put the add a quarter ruler, the edge of it, up on the black dark line, the sewing line, and trim, and do it on this side. Trim. time. And one more trim. And so now we have his legs. So here he is. And where did I put his other part? Okay. So here was his other part. So it would go like that. Okay. Which it still has the paper in it, so it makes it kind of not lay nicely. But you get the idea then. Then the last thing I have to do is I'm going to do this one next, which would be the one that has the beak. And then this one's just a white strip that you sew across the top. So that's it. I hope this helps. See you guys. Bye-bye.